All right, let's talk about these bad boys, the Final Audio D8000. These are the non-pro version, and these were lent out to me by a community member, Uncle Puck. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Let's dive into sound, all right? The highs with this were very controlled. They're very smooth. They did feel a little bit with some of my tracks that have more of like a highs that can be a little bit sibilant or could be kind of pushing that envelope a little bit. These felt like they rolled that off a little bit. I'm saying a little bit a lot. So these felt like they rolled off the highs just enough to where they just became more controlled and more enjoyable and more livable, I guess, or listenable. And I could listen to more tracks that I normally might get a little more fatigued with my other headphones. These really brought those in and made it just a more enjoyable listen overall. But it did feel like they were kind of bringing them down a little bit and rolling them off. But I personally liked it. I think that they did a good job with it, with maintaining just that nice balance of listening quality where you can listen to them and enjoy the highs without pushing into a range that you wouldn't want your ears to be subjected to. The mids to me had once again, this is going to be kind of another trend for this headphone, is they were solid, very smooth, easy listening, and this mild richness, I guess. I'm trying to think of a word for it, and it's not that they were super rich, or it's kind of like an average richness to them, but they definitely engaged you there without overdoing it or being overly forward. They were rich without or forcing you to pay attention to that richness. So going into the lows, they were nice, easy to live with, warm without being overdone, or they didn't get muddy. They were about average accuracy. They maybe and in some tracks a little above average accuracy. The lows actually were very engaging, and they definitely kept me wanting to listen more. And I would say I'm a mild bass head, and so these definitely fulfilled a lot of that. They weren't that dynamic or punchy, but the lows were definitely engaging and accurate enough to where you could pick apart tracks for the bass if you wanted to. And I didn't find them muddy or anything along those lines. In fact, they were just generally smooth, and that was kind of the overall take with this headphone, is that it was a pretty smooth headphone as far as the sound quality goes. The tonality of these is very good to my ears. I didn't have any issues with that. Imaging, separation, and stage was a little bit different. It felt like it had a decent out of the head experience on regarding the staging and what have you, but it did feel a little shallow. Like it felt like it didn't have the depth that other headphones had. But with the imaging and separation, I could easily pick apart where the different instruments were, or like when different notes were plucked or that kind of thing. Easy to kind of separate and tell apart the different instruments, and or even the different tones when they're like hit, like so if a piano key to a pluck of a guitar, that kind of thing. The different notes, and also separation and where they were on the stage. But it was still kind of like just around the head, but it was also more, it felt like it was more left and right than it was like full encompassing or 3D-esque. The center stage was decent, but it did feel like there was a little bit of a gap there. So going into the comparison of these, I actually compared them against my beloved, and these are actually my new pair, Verite Opens. I love them, the VOVCs. They're fantastic. For me, I'm a huge fan, and I wear that on my sleeve as much as possible so that you know where my biases lie. Comparing the Final D8K, D8000, I did find that the D8K was a little less forward across the range. The detail didn't seem quite as sharp, didn't quite perform to the same levels. The VO had more energy, and it had a little more punch, more dynamics, definitely the stage and depth, and like they had that more of a 3D factor. It had a much better imaging stage and that kind of thing. The lows were definitely more punchy, a lot more dynamic. They had more kind of accuracy too. Like I felt like there was more sharpness to the lows, and to across the board too, actually. Like everything just seemed a little more forward, a little more engaging. And not that the D8K was not engaging, it's just in comparison to that specific headphone, the VO, it did feel a little bit withdrawn. That being said as well, like these are still excellent. Like the D8K is an excellent headphone. Like it's one of those headphones that it's unoffensive, and it just had a very nice warmth and smoothness to it that allowed for me to kind of relax a little bit more, you know, like I was able to more quickly just kind of like just engage with the music, forget they're on my head, and just listen and enjoy that session of listening. So that's kind of how I feel about the listenability of these. Is like that's where they really start to shine, right? Like nothing's gonna be throwing you a curveball with these, and there's, at least in my experience, and I really enjoyed them, especially in that realm of like relaxing and just chilling out and listening to my music. All right, so the way that these are built, just solid with precision. They have a very nice feel in the hand. They're solid while still maintaining a lightness to them, if that makes sense. They implemented the kind of like a ball mount for the way that the cups swivel to adjust to your head. Very well implemented, and I like the way that kind of added to the comfort level that we'll kind of dive in a little bit. The metal, this is actually another cool thing, is like these are actually open backs, and the metal edges here and inside are actually a very fine filter, like precision cut. Really cool, like those little details like that, like just really attention to detail, solid build. The paint texture is really well done. The leather that's put on there is solid, really nice, high craftsmanship, very well built. And I really like the way that they are built. It's a quality headphone. I'm impressed with it. It's simple, but quality and well built. So going into comfort, these are solid in the hand, but light on the head. I don't know what else to say about them. Like, they just disappear. The pads are super comfortable on the ear pads. They have a cloth pad with a velour or faux velour on the face of them. I had zero issues with them over long-term listening sessions. No hot spots, nothing like that, and super comfortable. Clamp force was just right. Like, I didn't have any issues with clamp force either. So aesthetics might be hit or miss for anybody, like always. I felt these are simple, high quality precision craftsmanship. I'm not going to love or hate them. I think that they look good. I like the way that they did the paint on the cups. It has this nice texture to it. Have just a really simple aesthetic where it's just black and white with the lettering. Yeah, solid aesthetic. Nothing to scream home about or be like wowed about or super artistic, but in its simplicity, you could say that there is some wowness there. So final thoughts on these. These are smooth, easy listening, get out of the way, put them on your head, listen to your music, get some whiskey if that's your thing or not, and just sit back, relax, and get lost in the sea of music that you want to listen to. One of the more relaxing, enjoyable headphones I've used. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to worry about, oh, is there going to be a track that's going to randomly pop up that's going to cause any issues? There's nothing really I can say bad about it other than I think these are a little bit on the pricier side. I don't know exact price on these, considering that total range for headphones, so that's something to be aware of, which it shows. Like they're definitely in that performance level where they just perform and they do it well. If you ever get the chance to listen to them or go into an audio shop that has them, definitely give them a go, and I enjoyed them. So cheers everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. I like the paint picture, cheese and rice.